Something about the housing market right now shouldn't exist. We're seeing one of the lowest levels of home sales in decades, and at the exact same time, prices are hovering near historic highs. Fewer buyers, higher prices. In a normal system, those forces cancel out. That's the first rule of supply and demand. And yet, this market didn't correct. It locked up. Homes aren't moving, prices aren't dropping, and the average first-time buyer is now pushing around 38 to 42 years old. So if you've looked at houses recently and thought, this doesn't make sense, you're right, it doesn't. But it's not random. This entire situation is the result of a very specific chain reaction, one that started a few years ago and stacked step by step into the frozen market you're looking at today. And once you see that chain clearly, this stops looking like chaos. It starts looking inevitable. Let's start with a simple number. Right now, the median home in the U.S. sits around $415,000 to $425,000. Just a few years ago, that number was closer to $265,000 to $275,000. That's roughly a 50 to 55% increase nationwide. Not luxury markets, not tech hubs, the middle of the entire country. Now combine that with mortgage rates. At the peak of the low-rate era, you could lock in something around 2.5 to 2.7%. Today, you're looking at roughly 6.5 to 6.9%. That difference doesn't sound huge until you translate it into real money. Same house, same $400,000 price, at sub-3% rates, your monthly payment lands around $1,250 or a little more. At today's rates, you're closer to $2,100 or more per month. That's an extra $850 every single month for the exact same property. Nothing changed. Same walls, same neighborhood, same outdated kitchen pretending to be modern, except now it costs dramatically more to exist inside it. And on top of that, the house itself is more expensive than it was just a few years ago. So you're paying more for the asset and more for the money used to buy it at the same time. That's not bad luck. That's cause and effect. Go back to 2020. The global economy hits a wall. In response, the financial system does something extreme. Interest rates are slashed to nearly zero. At the same time, massive amounts of liquidity flood into the system, including large-scale purchases of mortgage-backed assets. The goal? Keep everything moving. And it worked. Mortgage rates collapsed to levels never seen before. Suddenly, millions of people could afford more house without increasing their monthly payment. So they acted. Fast. Demand surged almost instantly. But that was only half the story, because at the exact same time, something else changed: how people used their homes. Work moved inside. So did school. So did fitness. So did daily life. A small apartment stopped being efficient and started feeling like a constraint. So people began asking a different question. If I can live anywhere, why am I here? And they left. Major cities saw population drops. Smaller, more affordable markets saw a surge of incoming buyers. Places that already had limited inventory suddenly faced overwhelming demand, and prices reacted exactly how you'd expect. In some regions, values climbed 55 to 65% in under 2 years, not over a decade. 2 years. If you bought during that window, you likely benefited massively, not because of strategy, because of timing. Then everything flipped. By 2022, inflation surged to levels not seen in decades, so the system reversed direction, aggressively. Rates climbed fast, one of the fastest tightening cycles in modern history, and mortgage rates followed. Within a short period, borrowing costs more than doubled, which created a new reality. The same house now required dramatically higher income to afford. Here's where things break, because rising rates didn't just reduce demand, they also locked supply in place. Think about this. A massive percentage of homeowners today are sitting on mortgage rates below 4%, a significant portion even below 3%. Those loans don't exist anymore. They're essentially financial artifacts from a different era. So if someone sells their home today, they're not just moving, They're giving up the cheapest debt they may ever see in their lifetime and replacing it with something twice as expensive. That decision can cost tens of thousands of dollars over time. So what do rational people do? They stay. Even if the house no longer fits their life, even if they want to move, the math keeps them in place. This is the lock-in effect, and it's one of the biggest reasons the market stopped moving. Fewer people selling means less inventory. Less inventory means prices stay elevated, even when fewer people are buying. So now you have both sides shrinking at the same time. Buyers pushed out by affordability, sellers held back by financial disincentives. That's how you get a frozen market. And the people feeling this the most are first-time buyers. Picture someone doing everything right. Stable job, good credit, savings built slowly over years. On paper, they should qualify. In reality, the numbers don't work, because the income needed to comfortably buy has moved far faster than wages. There's now a gap, often tens of thousands of dollars, between what people earn and what homes require. That gap isn't about discipline, it's structural. And this is why the average first-time buyer age keeps drifting upward. Ownership isn't disappearing, it's just being delayed. Meanwhile, there's another layer underneath all of this, a supply shortage that didn't start recently. After the 2008 crisis, construction slowed significantly for years, and when construction resumed, it focused heavily on higher-priced homes. Entry-level housing, the traditional starting point, became increasingly rare. So even before recent events, the system was already undersupplied by millions of units. Then you stack on a demand surge, a rate shock, and rising construction costs, and the imbalance compounds. This is why comparisons to 2008 don't quite fit. Back then, the issue was weak lending. Today, lending standards are tighter, borrowers are stronger, equity levels are higher. The system isn't fragile in the same way. It's constrained. And that leads to an uncomfortable reality. There may not be a fast fix. Even if rates come down, that could bring buyers back faster than supply recovers, which can push prices up again, at least temporarily. So the most realistic outcome, not a crash, not a quick recovery, but a slow adjustment over time. And in the middle of that, you have to make decisions. Because here's the truth most people won't say clearly. Buying only makes sense when your numbers make sense. Not when the market says it's a good time, not when external pressure says you should, just the math. If the cost fits comfortably within your income and your timeline is long enough, it can work. If it doesn't, forcing it won't fix it. This market isn't broken in a dramatic way. It's broken in a quiet, persistent way, the kind that doesn't crash, just slowly reshapes what's possible. And if you've been looking at it thinking something feels off, that instinct is accurate, because the system you're navigating right now is fundamentally different from the system people remember. Understanding that difference is what lets you move intelligently instead of reactively.